Well, I believe in good vibrations is what creates a beautiful nation. All you need is the will to do right, do right, do right.
And we're live. Welcome to a brand new episode of Anecdotal Arguments. Anecdotally Paying European prices for petrol is what the vote in 2020 was all about. Getting inundated with we're live tweets or notifications. Yeah.
Good,
Hi, I'm your host,
that's
Jay
working.
Yeah. And with me, as per usual, Sean. How's it going, Sean?
It's Monday. We're here. Let's do this.
And Garrick.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, indeed. So, first story, because I keep failing to do it, but I was saying that to keep things in track, in case we need to ever go back, the first story we do is the movie review. So, who has seen The Hunt and would like to opine on The Hunt?
I have, but I'll let you guys go first because I have opinions.
Okay. You got anything, Sean?
I have not seen it, so I cannot opine.
Oh, well, frickin' spoiler alert. Have you seen The Ring of Fire?
No.
Have you seen Surviving the Game?
Maybe. I don't recall that one.
Ice-T, Gary Busey, Rutger Hauer, Charles Dutton.
I think I did when it was in theaters. So that
John
was a
McKinley.
long
God, dude,
time
that was
ago.
like 92.
Yeah. That's why that sounded familiar. But yeah, I think I saw that in the theaters way back when.
All right, Hard Target.
Yes.
Okay, so that is the premise of this movie, which bothers me to no end. Well, it's not the premise; it's basically the story
What?
archetype, really. The twist on this version is the fucking same as all the others. Rich dickheads, in this case, liberals. So I guess the story is they didn't have a hunt, but they joked about having a hunt.
Right.
And then the Trump-tards, maggots, if you will, pointed out them joking about having one, thus creating one.
In response to said ridicule.
It's so stupid. Point is, if you've seen any of this structure of movie, it is a hunter hunting the hunted, becoming the hunted. So anybody who flipped out about this, like this would have had to take a serious turn from any other movie, which it did. It had some nice turns. It killed off Superhero Boy, who was the guy was literally the Green Arrow in Steven will know this one, in Smallville. He is a hero archetype. Guy's like 6'4", a solid 220, like could honestly whoop some ass. I think he got shot in the head or something, or blown up. I think got blown up with a grenade. And Eric Roberts' little girl,
Emma Roberts, or niece to Julia Roberts, for those who don't know.
Oh, I could have done that with the extra layer of name dropping there. But Eric Roberts' little girl, Emma, who has been in some major movies, and was the first to be shown of the kidnappies. Like they tried to do a twist with it, which was nice. I enjoyed that aspect. I enjoyed the movie. I greatly enjoyed the movie. Wouldn't have given it 5. Would have given it 4. And it had, like Matt said, a really good girl fight scene. I don't know how much I would call it in the kitchen since they were all over that goddamn house.
Well, you'd say at least a solid what third
Oh, yeah.
of it was in the kitchen.
Yeah, like 1/5 at the beginning and an additional fifth, making it a third.
Something like
Someone got hit with a stove and a fridge, so that's enough for me.
that. Yeah.
So in effect,
The dishwasher attacked the other dishwasher with the
yeah.
fridge.
Yeah. I was trying to work that in there, and you got to it first. Nice.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it was just a run-of-the-mill decent movie, which there's been a surprise couple. Ready or Not was a surprise for what it was. What's the... I can't think of a way to explain it without... what was the one with the dinner? The guy brought a date to a dinner party, and the dinner party got attacked by people in animal masks. Have either of you seen that?
No.
I can't.
Is
think of
that that's The Purge, isn't it?
No. No, it's not The Purge. It was nothing like The Purge. It was it wasn't like a lawless scenario. It was just happened to be like a family murder plot. Anyway, the date one of the guys brought was a prepper, like grew up survivalist training, and wreaked havoc on every motherfucker who was attacked. There was like a lion and a sheep and like a fucking bat or something, but she ends up taking it to them, which is not a hunter. The hunter turned to hunted, but as close as you can get to that with what it was. It was like if the strangers showed up and then got their asses kicked. Bless you.
Thank you.
Unless that was your credulous noise, which it needs some work if it was. But there's been a couple like that. I think not Margot Robbie, but the other chick I'm sick of seeing all over the place. Samara Weaving. She was in the Ready or Not. Which has the best M. Night Shyamalan twist that's been out in well over a decade. So if you've not seen Ready or Not, see it.
I have not, but I have seen a M. Night Shyamalan movie lately that I want to comment on later. But
okay, we'll give it a minute. The Sixth Sense was the only twist that remotely caught me off guard. But it didn't catch me off guard. Like, wow, that was really clever. I was like, wow, Bruce Willis's character is a moron. Like, I'm sorry, did you as a ghost walk through a door and then sit down and not talk to the mom? Because somehow there's and it looks like they were caught in mid-conversation when they turned to Haley Joel Osment. So it's like, did you not realize how did you get to that situation where you're both sitting in the same room having not talked? Like, I get it, it's your wife, you're at dinner, you can not talk. Maybe she opened the door and you walk through. I don't fucking know. I don't know how you're living a life. How did you put on clothes today?
Not realizing it.
Yeah, like how did you? Is that part of your ghostliness? What the fuck ever. But after that, they were all obvious. Like Lady in the Lake, and I'm like, whoa, that was a fast assembly. Oh, you're not the right people? Nice. But we'll see what happens with what. In the what's your M. Night Shyamalan? And it better not be Airbender.
No. But I still haven't talked about The Hunt, so let me hurry up and knock that out.
Oh, yeah, go
ahead. So really did enjoy the movie. Like, so this is one of those movies that, the right was harping on it before. I think this was before Trump got elected, or maybe it was
Ignorantly harping on it.
right. And the left was curiously silent about it. Like they were enjoying our wailing and gnashing of teeth, but they didn't really comment on the movie itself, which told me they knew nothing about it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna ignore everyone and just give it a chance just to see, because I still had hope. And I was pleasantly surprised. I really did enjoy the plot. A lot of twists and turns. Like I didn't expect, you know, that many deaths that early on. It was very what's the uh, Katniss movie? What is it? Mockingjay.
Hunger
Come on.
Games.
Hunger Games. Thank you. It was very Hunger Games esque in the beginning. Very good. Uh, I did like the Dan is a Fed twist. That was a really good one towards the end. Um, who was the military advisor? It was in on that. That was a pretty good bit to have in there. Um,
That was actually probably a Hollywood thing
yeah. No, I
because they don't
totally,
listen to them for shit.
yeah, I totally buy it. Like as Matt said, this was a very evenly done movie as far as making fun of both sides, in my opinion. The director for the writer, I forget which it is, was actually on Ben Shapiro's Sunday special some time ago. I'll have to rewatch that just to and forward it to Matt. But he is a lefty or a liberal for sure, but he's not one of the crazy ones. He went on Ben's show and he's a very sane person, and I think he's the same guy that did Paranormal Activity, if I remember right, or his production house. Yeah, it's a really good movie. I gave it a 4 out of 5. Yeah, I would recommend it to anybody who's even slightly curious about it.
Well, there's a couple of writers and one director. The director did not do any of that.
Well, maybe it's just the producer then that I'm thinking of. I mean, I'll look it up. But as far as the who else was I thinking of? What the? Alan Weselberg looks a lot like Sean Connery. Just a random thing that popped up in my computer whenever I started looking this up.
It took me a pretty decent amount of time to place Ethan Suplee. It's like, why does this guy look familiar?
Wait, who is this now?
Ethan Suplee, the guy who said they have crisis actor babies.
Oh.
Yeah, he looks a lot different than he did in My Name is Earl.
Or Mallrats.
Yeah.
Oh, did y'all get the Snowball reference? Like how that was supposed to play into the show? Because
Animal Farm? You haven't read Animal Farm?
Yeah, I've read Animal Farm, but I didn't understand it beyond that. Was it supposed to have any significance to the story?
The snowball creates an avalanche? She was claiming that it was she's what started it, that picked up momentum to cause the catastrophe. Dual meaning. And she's a blonde. I think because they were women, they were just jealous bitches. I would have rather fist fought Emma Roberts.
Oh, it was filmed in New Orleans. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Bloomhouse. Bloomhouse Productions.
Oh.
So, yeah.
They've been kind of going downhill lately. They're fucking bagul scares.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're Like I said, I think they did. What was it? I thought they did Paranormal Activity, but maybe not.
Yeah.
Oh, they did Get Out.
22 for a body count for the movie. And the film is partially inspired by The Most Dangerous Game, a 1924 short, The Most Dangerous Game, a 1932 movie, Turkey Shoot, 1982, Hard Target, 1993, Surviving the Game, 1994, The Pest, 1997, and The Eliminator, 2004. I didn't remember The Pest being about killing John Leguizamo. But that's pretty funny because I wanted them to kill John Leguizamo in that movie. But enough of that crap.
Jason Blum, episode 87, if you guys are interested.
No. They started out strong, and then they took this stupid turn after was it Hereditary or what's the one with the Bagul? Sinister. And they started. Good Lord, that was loud in my ears. You didn't hear that, but good Lord.
Who did what?
They started at the end. There would be this final scare that usually the final scare is like you shoot Jason in the face with your shotgun, utterly destroying him, and he is absolutely for sure dead. And then there's a twitch. Or the same thing with Mike Myers or whatever. You know, a charred fucking corpse who's been dead. They're only 30% left. Their body's decaying in front of you. And they still make a move. And now, Blumhouse in particular, because of the Bagul, they end with the creature lurching at the camera, which just doesn't make any fucking sense to a movie. Why is it even lurching in that direction? Does it know there's a camera? That's stupid. So it's been titled The Bagul Scare, and you see it just way too often. And because they don't even... well, I mean, it started when you do like Sinister, and then like Sinister 2 was like a back in time, so you couldn't even kill off the creature then. Those type of things. Stop making horror prequels. I get it that it's easier to write a prequel because you already have the characters and you just have to fill it with time. But you know, the fun as a moviegoer is the cockamamie way in which you somehow sell to me that the guy who got decapitated, his head then shoved up his ass, a grenade put into the mouth, and the body explode, comes back to life afterwards. And I promise you, the audience will not like it if it's a copycat. I.e., Jason 5. And they will not like it if you go to a completely different type of movie. Example, Halloween 3. But the other twist of that was the excellent H2O twist, which some people absolutely hated, but I personally... Have you guys seen Halloween H2O?
No.
Oh, you guys suck.
Yeah, I know.
So usually Mike Myers gets shot a bunch and then dies somewhere with the body unrecovered. Unlike Jason, like, is absolutely dead each time, but he's a fucking wraith zombie, fucking whatever the hell he is. So Halloween H2O, Jamie Lee Curtis is back, and 20 years later, and Mike Myers is on a gurney, and she's like, "He'll come back." Kidnaps the ambulance. Well, not kidnaps the ambulance. She steals the ambulance. Kidnaps Mike Myers, who's in the back of the ambulance. He tries to break free. They end up getting into a crash, and he gets pinned to a tree. And she takes an axe and chops off his head. And the beginning of the next movie is them, and this is kind of bullshit, but I liked it, but everybody else didn't like it. Mike Myers is wounded, so he grabs a paramedic and breaks the trachea, fucking whatever, of the paramedic, and puts the mask on him, and the paramedic is then the replacement for Mike Myers that all that stuff happens to. And I'm like, oh well, so I guess that's clever. It wasn't, but it was at least a workaround for what had happened.
Right. They gave it some thought.
Yeah. And they didn't try to like recon it or anything like that. They just, there was no changing of the past. Not that we were aware of or weren't aware of. And there's actually a part where they follow the shoulder of a guy into the scene, and that's supposed to be that shoulder was Mike Myers. Woo! Yeah, I mean, kudos to that. I thought it was an opportunity, at least. It sure beats being drug up from the grave by the guy making sure you were dead, and then just magical lightning brings you back to life. I'm a zombie. Or whatever Jason was. I don't actually know what he was supposed to be. Undead Revenant. Possibly. All right, what do we have for news topics? We ran that into
Hold on. I didn't do my M. Night
Oh,
Shyamalan.
you're M. Night
Stepping all over his dick.
Yeah.
I know, dude. It's like I ain't even here. What the fuck? Anyway, so I recently watched Old, which is, the plot is this.
What?
Old.
OLD?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
It is. And the plot of the story is this family goes on a vacation and they find this
old vacation.
No, but they find this beach where time passes faster and they age more quickly. So it ends up, well, I'm not going to do a spoiler, but severely missed opportunity at a very good one-off horror story, with the last 15 minutes fucking up the movie.
Well,
like,
yeah,
it was
that's what he
excellent up until that point. So that kind of pissed me off. It would have been a 4. I'm going to give it a 3. Maybe a 2.5. We'll see. Still recommend you watch it, at least up until the last 15 minutes.
Do they say old a lot?
No. But there is a lot of, like...
So it's not like The Happening?
There's weird talking cues.
What is happening?
There's lines that don't feel organic. Like just random shit that gets spoken at some points. I don't know what to make of that. What?
That definitely wasn't The Happening.
Mm.
Hot Dog Man just randomly talking about fucking hot dogs.
Yeah, shit like that happened. It's weird. It kind of throws it off, but the substance of the story is still kind of there. It's pretty good. And like the last 15 minutes wrapped it up, but the way they did it, or one of the things that they did in it, and we can talk about it later if y'all don't mind spoilers, just really
I'm not gonna watch
ruined it for me.
I'm not gonna watch this movie, but yeah, it's a brand new movie, so we can ruin it for everybody else.
Okay. Sure, Jay, for sure.
The call was coming from inside the house the whole time. If anybody hasn't seen Black Christmas, it's been out since 1974. You're welcome.
I thought that was When a Stranger Calls, or is it the same thing?
Fuck if I know.
Which
Unbreakable,
apparently
the
there's-
Shamalama Ding Dong?
Yeah,
Huh.
and
I think I don't know that. No, it couldn't be because I'm pretty sure When a Stranger Call was written by.
no, Unbreakable.
Oh, I was gonna say When a Stranger Calls was written by Andrew Clavin.
Was it?
I think it was When a Stranger Calls. Maybe One Missed Call. Hold on and look it up. Talk about Unbreakable. Hold on.
I didn't realize it was a Shamalama Ding Dong movie.
Yeah, I was surprised as well.
Are the sequels?
Yeah,
yeah.
Split for sure.
Yeah, there's Unbreakable, Split, and Glass is the last one.
Oh, Don't Say a Word, One Missed Call. Gosnell, the Trial of American Monster, whatever it is.
Mm.
New York City Underground, One Missed Call. Yeah, True Crime.
Fred
Chocolate.
Walton, director / writer.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah,
so
I saw that video, Waco. Well, I didn't. At least the video keeps popping up on my timeline. I haven't actually watched Drinker's video on it yet, but yeah, I'd be down to watch something Drinker recommends.
I want to see it because it's got a Short Round in it.
Adult short round?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
I'll
what
give it a
the
try.
picture I sent you like 6 months ago.
Yeah. Unless he says no time for love, Dr. Jones.
Yeah, it's he said the script was so good it brought him out of
Retirement.
not acting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd have to give that one a try then.
I think Unbreakable probably had one of the better twists. For after Sixth Sense came out. Like The Village, I was like, nope. But yeah, Unbreakable was good. And I like that Bruce Willis plays an idiot in M. Night Shyamalan movies. Because even then he was like he had to talk to his boss to find out when the last time he was sick was. How do you not remember the last time you were sick? But my favorite part of that was in response to him asking about the last time he had a sick day, the boss gave him a raise. I was like, nice.
Wish it worked that way.
Yeah.
I worked every day through the pandemic, going to the office every single day. I mentioned that, and they tell me I should say thank you for still having a job. Like, oh, okay.
Is Everything Everywhere All at Once? Is it a long movie, or do you just take breaks during movies?
Well, he had to get to our stream, so.
Oh well, that's understandable. It's not like this thing isn't,
They used to have interludes in movies.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Looking at you, Planet Terror or whatever it was called. Grindhouse, that's what it's called. Yeah, I liked Unbreakable.
It was a good movie.
I despise Signs until I watched it later with somebody else, and it ended up being more enjoyable than I expected from disliking it so much the first time I turned it off. It's a very dry humor, though, but I do enjoy some Mel Gibson. 1917. Yeah, 1917 was good. He did. He took a break to be here. Well, you're late. Just saying. We expected gratefulness. You are mistaken. The I just watched The Lost City, Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum.
Oh yeah, how was that?
Not a huge cringe fan, and this very carefully walked the line of almost being cringe. But in the entertainable way. Like Daniel Radcliffe plays one of the. He wasn't charming per se, but he's probably one of the funnest villains that has been around in a while.
He's no Voldemort, is he?
He's no Voldemort. First off, he has a nose, and second, he's like 5'6", so you can't really instill a lot of fear being 5'6". But all in all, it was a good movie. Brad Pitt plays a crazy ass character because that's what Brad Pitt likes to do. If you don't believe me, watch 12 Monkeys.
Snatch.
Snatch.
Yeah, that
Fight Club.
was interesting.
Oceans, any of the Oceans. He's they filmed long in the Ocean movies, so pretty much every scene he's eating because he didn't want to miss lunch again. So it's between him and Robert Downey Jr. for shoving food into their heads entire days of working. Because sometimes you have to do the same scene like 6 times. And you have to keep popping those freaking blueberries in your head each time because you have to keep up continuity. So good luck with that. Nothing worse than being happy about eating cold French fries. I do enjoy Brad Pitt movies. My favorite cameo Brad Pitt is Deadpool 2.
Absolutely. 1.8 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, that was about as long as Matt
what, 7
Damon and
frames?
that was about as long as Matt Damon's cameo in the same movie.
Yeah, Damon at
Andrew
least had
Tudyk.
some lines.
Yeah, but I didn't even know it was him. I couldn't tell. Good Lord.
You didn't. He had a fucking headshot. He clearly could tell it was Brad Pitt.
No, Matt Damon. I didn't know it was Matt Damon.
Oh well, no. The headshot was a blank picture. He's the Vanisher. He vanishes.
He's not crazy.
No, I recognized Andy Tudyk, and then I rewound it and let's do it again. I was like, hey, that's Matt Damon. But Matt Damon also did a cameo in Eurotrip, where he played a douchebag band singer. And that's my favorite Matt Damon cameo. He was like, hey, I want to be the lead singer of Sump 41. like he shaved head, tattoos, freaking dangling ear piercings all over the place. It was ridiculous. And like the most famous person in that movie was well, technically it was Kristen Couric from Smallville. And then later on, Lucy Lawless had a special appearance as a dominatrix. But all in all, it's a National Lampoon movie. You don't fork out big money. It's all new actors who are willing to get naked or run around naked.
Whatever they can afford.
Exactly. And they're usually worth the watch. Not much worth the watch, but worth the watch.
The only one that stands the test of time is the original Vacation, and then Christmas Vacation because it's John goddamn Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, the original Rusty is Anthony Michael Hall.
Yeah.
Fight me.
Well, Van Wilder was National Lampoon.
That's not going to stand the test of time. It's already dated.
That's fair. Loaded Weapon was also a National Lampoon.
That one might last just because it's Police Squad.
Basically. Animal House.
That
I'm not
does
saying
not. It doesn't stand the test of time.
I'm not saying it will, but that was also
Double secret probation.
I think the one that's not going to stand the test of time was Christmas Vacation 2. Starring Dennis Quaid, because that's who you want starring in your Christmas movie.
Not Randy?
I didn't say Randy Quaid. I said Dennis Quaid. My bad. Randy Quaid.
I thought so.
Yeah, Dennis is in Inner Space, and Randy is Independence Day.
Mm-hmm.
The outer space, if you will.
How are they brothers? They look nothing alike.
Mm-hmm. Did you see Vacation?
You'll have to be more specific. Vacation?
Yeah, it's it's Rusty's turn. And Rusty is played by Ed Helms.
What is this, like a sequel to Vacation?
Basically. Well, it's a National Lampoon's Vacation. It's Rusty's Vacation. But just called Vacation. Like you, sir, are no Anthony or other guy.
Yeah, the dude from Big Bang Theory.
Who from Big Bang Theory?
I was going to ask.
The guy who played Rusty in Christmas Vacation is the guy from the Big Bang Theory, the main character.
Which main character?
Not Sheldon, the other one.
Leonard?
Yes.
Jonathan. Shit, what's his name? Jonathan. He wanted to say Lipnicki, but that's not it.
No, it's not Nicky. I don't know the actor's name because I can't be bothered to care. But I do remember that he played Rusty in Christmas Vacation, and then 15, 20 years later, he got the gig for Big Bang Theory.
Johnny Galecki.
Sure. I don't know.
Oh.
It's like the same reason I can't be bothered to remember Haywood Smith.
You mean Kurtwood Smith?
Kurtwood Smith, whatever the hell his name is.
Kurtwood Smith.
Hey, would you blow me? Red Foreman. It's Red Foreman. It's always going to be Red Foreman.
Maynard got on me. Yeah, I got stuck because I called him Jonathan instead of Johnny. I would have got it if it was I would have said John before I said Johnny or Jonathan.
Ugh.
I mean, a guy with Kurtwood Smith, too.
Yeah.
It's Kurtwood Smith. I don't remember that either. Yeah,
it's Red Foreman.
Half the time I look it up and I'm like, damn it, what was his name? I just looked it up.
Yep.
So yeah, we I everybody go back and watch RoboCop because that's next week's. Well, not next week's, the week after's. This week is Jurassic Park, and so how do you guys feel about the comment made about Jurassic Park and Laura Dern's claiming that now it's creepy that Dr. Grant is 20 years older than her?
I did not know that, actually. And
Me
once
either.
upon-
I did not
Yeah,
think she was
like-
23.
She does not look like she's 23 in that movie. She looks like she's 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they were absolutely
No,
peers.
33. She looks 10 years older. What
Yeah.
the hell?
Yeah, I thought they were of an
Oh,
age and were peers. I didn't think of her as a submissive role. It's not like, in fact, if anything, she had the more dominant role. She was the one forcing Grant to hang out with children.
True. She was doing the woman's job.
Well, yeah. If you saw the beginning of the movie, you would realize why he needed to hang out with children.
Right. No, I'm with
Well,
Maynard. Maynard
really-
says he totally thought that Laura Derp was in her late 30s back then. And I agree with her, which is why I was shocked how good looking she was in that horrible Star Wars movie. I was like, wow, she didn't really age at all. Come to find out, no, she was just stupidly young in Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
And old looking. She looked like a hag years before she should have.
Yeah, I didn't realize she was. At no point did anything in that make me think she was 20 years his junior.
Yeah.
But also, like, bitch, you are an extinct plant biologist. Like, you are the definition of a wasted degree. Like, yeah, you need someone 20 years older to pay off your student loan debt.
Yeah.
That's why
And
you
you're
work
like-
for a university.
There should only be, a handful of people with that title or degree?
No, it should be dead because it should be dead.
No, there's no such thing.
Extinct plants?
There's no such thing as a useless title, but there is one that has very little value. Therefore, maybe 5 to 10 people on the planet have that specialty.
Right. And it's something
really
you
ultimate
get.
for it.
It's something you go after you've already got a good accreditation that gets you a job where you can actually do something useful, and then that you find that, oh well, somebody needed to know about extinct plants and have some sort of theory about them because we were researching this and we got these soil cores or these fossil cores or whatever. So somebody needed to put this shit together. So there's like 4 or 5. You're right, 4 or 5 people in the world that specialize in that, but they all have degrees in other shit that actually pay the bills.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. We're laughing about it, but literally, like, Jurassic Park is the only use for her. It's like the Robert Langdon books on he's a Harvard symbolologist.
Oh, from
Symbolism and iconography.
Yeah.
What's the point? Just talk more about the Pepsi logo, you dick. Like there was 2 scenarios in which he was absolutely necessary to something. Hers was Jurassic Park. That's the only thing she's good for. Is there a lot of plant fossils out there?
Probably
Yes.
not. They all turn into oil.
No, there's tons of plant fossils out there.
How do you even get a plant fossil?
Well, plant falls over in the mud, and the mud, hardens up around it, and it imprints into the mud. The mud becomes rock.
And then it never rains for 10,000 years.
Oh, no, it's just like, especially in bogs and stuff like that. Stuff falls over, gets caught in the muck, gets
Or the,
preserved in the muck, and then
carpets.
eventually bogs dry up and solidify. And there's
Sean,
tons.
Tar pit?
What?
Tar pits?
That too. I mean, plant fossils are a thing.
Jeff, Jeff Goldblum was there because of his background in animal hybrids from being in The Fly. No.
He was the movie's sex appeal.
Well,
Oof.
Sam O'Neill does a pretty damn good job on his own. And all the suspense came from Samuel L. Jackson's cigarette. Just the ashes hanging out the end of that fucking thing. Like, good God.
Yeah.
If anything, the stretch was was Jeff Goldblum's character, the chaostician, which is how you end up getting a degree in freaking extinct plants. Is you let a mathematician go off into a side category of chaostician, which literally he just gets invited around by lawyers to prove theme park validity. What the fuck?
Well, I don't know why they keep remaking this shit. It's literally one movie's worth of material.
It is.
No.
One
was completely different than 2.
2 was, had a premise, fine. After that, it's a stretch.
Like, why would you ever recreate a dinosaur amusement park after the disaster of the first one?
Because people don't learn from their mistakes.
And also...
insurance companies absolutely do.
Sean, money.
Well, that was the thing. They went with private investors and wait, which one was what now? Yeah. So 1 was 1. 2 was a recovery mission. 3 was also a recovery mission.
2 was a rescue. 3 was a rescue mission for fucking tourists. Yeah.
So
no, 3 was a rescue mission for tourists. 2 was a recovery of assets mission.
No, you're backwards.
No, because 2 was when they went with the engine went in to like capture all the dinosaurs, and they were there.
That was 3.
That was 2.
No, 2. Am I right?
2 is the Lost World. That was with Jeff Goldblum. They didn't have Sam Neill. Sam Neill was in 1 and 3, not 2.
Chat. I mean, I don't give a shit if I'm wrong about a fucking number, but I was pretty sure Sam Neill was in 1 and 2.
No, I'll put money on it.
All right, Lost World, Jurassic Park, blah 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 blah. Was Jeff Goldblum 97? So Jurassic Park 3 was you're. Wait, that's not right. Why is this the original video?
We need another.
Yeah, so Jurassic Park 3 was William H. Macy. Okay, Tia Leone. Tia Leone is so cute.
We need another drawer next that Alex Jones was right that says Raggle Fraggle was right.
Well, yeah, I mean, since this is the first time.
And there's only $2 in it.
Get off your own dick.
Leave it. Let him have it. This is the first time he was right.
No, second time. Thank you. There was another time. I don't remember what it was, but I know there was another time.
He's been known to be right, but he is no Alex. You, sir, are no Alex Jones. I know Alex Jones, and you, sir, are no Alex Jones.
That is the goal. If I can get on that level of right, oh my God.
I knew Alex Jones. And you, sir.
I could actually say things and they would come true.
Okay. So 1 and 3 were completely different movies.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 was the cash cow. Was the cash grab for it.
Well, and that's all these new ones are, cash grabs.
Yeah.
I kind of liked them.
I don't think it's a lukewarm take, Poet. I think it's absolutely true that even the first one, for as amazing as it was when it came out just because of the graphics and everything, it wasn't that great of a movie. It was just a good popcorn munching summer blockbuster.
Oh, it's strictly visuals. It's.
There is some story, but it's not a very deep story.
Mm-hmm. Like Jurassic World was better than Jurassic Park, as far as story goes, but visually, Jurassic Park was a better movie, and that's just the difference between Steven Spielberg and Colin Trevorrow.
Yeah, when you have impressive visuals these days, they have to be expected. Like, they are expected.
Yeah, they are.
When Jurassic Park came out, that was mind blowing because that was the bleeding edge
Unprecedented.
of computer generated graphics, and it looked realistic. Now we laugh when they don't spend enough on CG, and you get shit like the Disney Plus shows.
Yeah. Is Jurassic? Are those Disney? Well, they're Disney, right?
Yeah, they're.
Fox.
Aren't they? What? Yeah, Fox.
Okay.
That's Spielberg. That was Fox.
Okay, good.
But Disney owns Fox now.
Now, not anymore. They didn't then.
So technically, Laura Dern is twice over a Disney princess.
Yeah. It's a Disney old ass.
Speaking of which, how old is Bryce Dallas Howard?
Opie's daughter?
Yeah.
Mid-30s, late 30s?
I don't know, but all I know is she runs in heels.
She is quite fetching, which is weird coming out of that family because, boy, golly howdy, does that family have an ugly gene.
40.
She's 40?
40.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
March 2nd, 1981.
Wow.
Oh, she's 41. Shit.
Yeah.
Still quite fetching.
Mm-hmm. That makes her older than her.
Yeah, she's robbing the cradle when she's going after Chris Pratt.
Yeah, for real.
Wow, he's one of the Chris's. Who wouldn't go after that?
It's Hollywood. There's a shit ton of Chris's.
Maynard, that was 3. Right? 2, 3, 2, whatever it was. My point is they're confusing your shit. Oh, Mayor's talking shit. Mm-hmm. Calling everybody out, saying Bryce Dallas Howard is an oven mitt.
Well, I mean, given the looks of her father and her uncle, she won the genetic lottery.
Wait.
She's like, I'm so pale, though. Like, we expect you to be pale.
Yeah, your
Wait,
family is translucent, for God's sake.
What's her... wait, who's her uncle and father?
Clint Howard's her uncle.
Who?
Clint
Howard.
Wait, what? No.
Yes.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Really?
And Ron Howard is her father.
Holy hell.
So
That's
Opie
not
Cunningham.
that far. I mean, Opie was...
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Richie
the kid
Cunningham.
Opie Cunningham. It's Opie Cunningham. He's Opie and Richie, so he's Opie Cunningham.
Back when his happy days were on Mayberry.
See, he's right about something, and then he's clueless about most other things, and it just shows right the hell back up. Shut up, cat.
Well, they weren't technically rich. That was that check bounced to high heaven. But and they weren't yachting either. And it wasn't a couple as well. It was a stepdad and the kid were Tia Leone's new boyfriend or whatever. And it was up parasailing with her son on a speedboat.
Mm-hmm.
And it got detached and landed on Isla de Nublar or whatever.
Now the boat got attacked, and so they had to detach.
Yeah, that was it. Tia Leone wasn't there, but the couple that it was the, and then her husband was her first husband, the kid's father, was played by William H. Macy.
Yeah.
The rich couple with the yacht, that was in 2.
Right. That was Camilla Bell, her debut.
Yeah,
if I remember
I was going to say that too.
That's where I first remember seeing her. And I think the only other movie I ever saw her in was When a Stranger Calls, or at least the only one I can recall.
We need to get away from franchises, I think.
If it's done right, I enjoy a franchise because
what franchise has
character
been
growth.
done right?
Have you seen a little movie I like to call The Hobbit? No, I'm just kidding. The progression, now I'm not saying it was done right or that it was even good, but the progression of Terminator was at least interesting.
There are only 2 Terminator movies.
Oh, come on, there's at least 3.
What's the third?
It's coming out soon. Probably. Wasn't Camilla Bell the mom in Push?
No idea.
I think she was. Or not the young version of the mom.
It seems to me that most franchises, if they have a trilogy in mind when they create it, the trilogy can be good. But anything beyond that, they tend to shit the bed, Amber Heard style.
Mm-hmm.
Intentionally?
No, I don't think it's intentional. I think they just end up being
Oh, trust me. She did it on purpose.
Alien was amazing in itself.
Yes.
And then Aliens was better than it had any right to be.
I would say equally as good on their different genres.
Correct.
Yeah. For sure.
They took a franchise from a horror setting, suspense horror, and made it an action thing. And that worked. Mm-hmm. And I think Alien 3 gets too much shit. It's not a terrible movie, but it's one of those things that they're like, oh shit, well, we have this property, we should probably do something with it. And they offer something up that's subpar. And it seems to me that it's about the third movie, unless it's conceived of as a trilogy.
I like Charles.
The third movie ends up being the beginning of the decline of a franchise, almost always.
I just like saying Charles Estad. I would like to give a shout out to the visionaries at Highlander who didn't wait to the third movie and jumped straight into it.
What about the Batman franchise? Do you think that's been kind of played around with a bit?
I think they were both good. From Christopher Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that depends.
That's one of the few that I think it's... The first one was meh. The second one is peak. Third one was close to peak, but not quite there.
Well, I think that the third one could have been better if Heath Ledger hadn't died. And
I don't know about that.
they
I
would
just
have
think
they would have
protection
had
that-
him in Arkham doing something.
Absolutely.
And that would have made that an excellent capstone to that, because the Bane story is interesting, but when you lose that portrayal of the Joker because the actor dies, man, that's rough. Because
That would have
could
been it would have been a
something else.
three-way fight. The Joker against Bane, and both of them against Batman.
Kind of. It would have been them both against Batman until the Joker realized that Bane's out to kill him, and then Joker would have gone full bore against Bane to not kill Batman. But, I mean, it is what it is. I did not particularly care for Batman Begins.
No, I mean,
I always give
It's,
slack on those foundational movies.
it made me kind of reminisce to like the cartoonish way that the older Batman movies were kind of portrayed. You know, I mean, it was like that, but it was a dark and gritty overlay on top of it, which they cleaned it up in the second one really well. I really liked it. But it's one of those movies that kind of breaks that. What usually happens is your first one is really good, your second one's kind of and your third one is what kind of recovers it, and then you just leave it there. This was kind of the opposite, in my opinion.
You literally just described the Matrix.
Yeah,
No,
but it's also
there's only one Matrix movie.
yeah, there was only one Matrix movie.
I mean, we'll agree to that if you could stipulate that there are 10,000 Agent Smiths.
There's no reason there couldn't be, but
And there's probably 8 or 9 too many Fast and Furious movies. The first one's the good one. It's the only one.
Dare you.
the one good thing I will say about the Fast and the Furious retarded franchise is that it did give birth to Hobbs and Shaw, which is actually somewhat enjoyable.
Only because it's a standalone. It could have been written without Fast and Furious.
But they would have never conceived of it.
Sure, they would have. It might not have taken on the name of like Hobbs and Shaw or have that form, but the premise would have been there in some other form.
Was Hobbs and Shaw good?
It was enjoyable.
It's a good popcorn movie. Yeah, it's not a bad movie.
I think it's on HBO.
It's a good update to 80s action flicks.
I don't know how The Rock is supposed to fight Jason Statham. Jason Statham beat up a Megalodon.
They really jacked him up for that movie. Like a lot.
It is not on HBO Plus.
But I think that if Hollywood is to recover, which I don't think it will, but if it is, they've got to break this reliance on these big budget franchise movies that seems to be the only stuff that they do that seem to be produced by committee. It's killing them, and they really need these. What they need to do is come up with new material that creates new franchises. If they're gonna stick to the franchise model, they need to come up with new franchises, and that's why they dipped into Marvel, and that's why Batman works, is because comic books are serialized, and there's tons of stories that you can tell with them. The characters are known. The problem is especially with Batman, is they keep telling goddamn origin stories. You need to stop that shit.
Well, the first Dark Knight was the first origin story for Batman that was of any consequence. I mean, you get the dream sequence of Bruce losing his parents, but it's the only origin of Batman per se.
Well, Batman Begins is an origin story.
Mm-hmm.
1998's Batman is an origin story, kind of. At least
he was fully Batman.
Oh, it starts off with him losing his parents
That's a dream.
in 1998's.
Michael Keaton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't that it's just a dream sequence?
I think it's just a flashback. I don't think it's even
Yeah.
a dream. I think it's just a flashback.
Well, he wakes up afterwards, so it's a dream.
Can I chime in for just a second about this whole problem with Hollywood in general? I think the problem is that it's big production companies that are, as Sean said, these are movies put together by committee, and they go through a screening process, and they go through not control groups. What am I trying to think of?
Focus groups.
Focus groups. Thank you. They go through focus groups to figure out if it's going to play well with audiences. No,
and then they do the worst thing possible with a focus group. They take a focus group and they find out, well, 90% of them liked it, but this 10% didn't like it. So we're going to
get that 10%.
Yeah. So we're going to devote everything to fixing it for the 10%, and then no one likes it.
Yeah. Well, and that's a problem. But I think the solution to this is kind of what's happening with Rumble and with Daily Wire. You need to get people that are invested in it and make this a patronage industry again, not a capital a corporative industry.
No, I see what you're going for. I see what you're going there for, Raggle, but that's not gonna work. What you need is
no, but the reason that it works better in a patronage system is because movies like Old get made. These weird, random one-offs that are a risk, and they're actually pretty good, get made. You don't have franchises and repeats and shit that is just fucking done to death. My God.
Take a look at Dodgeball.
Okay.
Ben Stiller is on record of saying that focus groups wrecked that movie, his vision for that movie. He's on record as saying it. And I think, why can't I think of the dude's name from the Wedding Crashers that was a star? Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn. Also agreed with Ben Stiller. He's like, this movie could have been so much better if we didn't have to cater to the studio making all these changes and stuff from the focus groups. And Dodgeball is still a pretty decent movie, but can you imagine when these two guys are out there saying it could have been that much better if they had just been given the rein to do their thing?
Dude made Tropic Thunder. Okay, it's a classic.
It's the only good Ben Stiller movie.
It's not classic.
It's the only it's the only good Ben Stiller movie.
It will be a classic, but classic literally requires 25 years.
Fine, will be a classic.
How long
it's in the
has it been?
AMC lineup to be made a classic. Okay.
It'll be 25 years.
It's not.
Gotta be like 2005.
As I say, it's probably approaching 20.
Yeah, but it's
2008. Fuck you.
I'm not going to argue with you, Sean, because I haven't seen a whole lot of Ben Stiller movies, and I'm almost never impressed with him.
We'll file that under my favorite,
I was shocked at how good Tropic Thunder was.
We'll file that under my favorite Tom Cruise
but it's
cameo.
Also, it's a hell of a
best Tom Cruise
cast.
movie.
So, yeah, it is the best Tom Cruise movie. But look, the reason that those kind of movies need to be made is because they need to get away from these fucking studios that are pushing, hey, it must make money, period. If it doesn't make money, we won't do it.
Well, yeah, and there's the problem too. Is these creators can make these really good movies. Who was the guy that? Oh my God, why is my brain not working? John Carpenter. John Carpenter makes fantastic movies. They're on a low budget. Keep that in mind. He doesn't ask for a whole lot of money, and he turns out good product, especially dollar for dollar. He turns out good product. Yeah, he turns out amazing product for the money. The problem is that he got to make the best movie ever made in Big Trouble in Little China, the absolute pinnacle of cinematic experience, the best movie ever made, and that movie soured him on movie making because the studios didn't know how to fucking market it.
They don't market any of his movies well, though. Like, I enjoy everything I've seen of John Carpenter. They just, I think his most popular movie that made money is Halloween, followed by The Thing.
Reanimator?
They don't make money in the box office. And that could be marketing, but that's why he just doesn't sell. And I agree, he makes good movies. I thought one of the things that could be done to not steer too far away, but to have a little bit of canon, is maybe like literally like son of Reanimator or son of Frankenstein or whatever. But they did that in the new Shaft movie, and I hated it.
Okay, so first of all, let's pour one out for Fred Ward, who passed, a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
No.
But they made a movie called Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins. And it was one of my favorite movies as a kid. And we never got a second Remo Williams movie. That's a travesty. We never got a
second Buckaroo Banzai.
Well, that's just it, too. They teased... I was going to get to the Buckaroo Banzai. We were supposed to get a sequel to Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. They even teased it at the end. And I'm still waiting on that damn movie 40 goddamn years later.
Black Magic says, I'm not blaming the Jews. I just can't take away to end the sentence.
Meanwhile, we've got, 2 Anchor or 3 Anchorman movies that all are garbage.
I think we have 4 Hangover movies.
You only needed 2.
I didn't even need the original.
I like the original.
That's not my cup of tea. That's the cringe thing.
Yeah, I don't like embarrassment humor, but for some reason that rode that line right where it needed to be for me.
Yeah. Poet says, to be honest, Hollywood needs to find a less slimy version of Weinstein's that actually took chances on interesting scripts and the clout to get them made.
Yeah.
That's the thing with the Weinsteins. First off, there's a good, not a great, but a good Amber Heard movie called All the Boys Love Mandy Lane. Bought by the Weinsteins and shelved. And Harvey Weinstein was famous for demanding 20 minutes be cut from a script. Now, I could see watching a movie and going, "Ooh, 2 hours. We could. There's some draw there. You could probably cut the 20 minutes from that and really hard boil it down."
Yeah, tighten it up.
Yeah, but hard boil it down to like a hard boiled egg. But he would, like, week 3, he'd be like, take 20 minutes off it. That's not like, what are you trying to skimp on the film budget? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, that's just it too. By the time he's doing that, the film's already in the can, and it's all down to editing and post-production. So, and then keep in mind, Weinstein bought the View Askew universe from Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith made a black and white movie called Clerks that was great. Mm-hmm. And Harvey Weinstein bought it at like Sundance or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got the Kevin Smith movies, which I think are good. At least the View Askew stuff is. Yoga Hosers, meh, I like it, but it's because I've got a weird sense of humor. But I wouldn't qualify it as good as his other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Who would have thought the children of actors cannot act?
Depp's kid does all right.
Yeah.
But it's not like she's got stiff competition.
So does it. Eastwood's kids. They do all right.
Well, I'll tell you what. If
you seen Gran Torino?
If Clint's son wants to remake A Fistful of Dollars, he could probably do that.
Oh, yeah, he's got that squint.
He does. He's got the squint. He's like a better looking version of his dad at the same age, which is saying something because fucking Clint Eastwood was a good looking dude when he was young.
Do you need a minute?
I don't need a minute, but Steven might.
Ew. Yeah, I think the best movie that Scott Eastwood's been in is that Taylor Swift music video. Like, I didn't care for him in Pacific Rim 2. He was not great, not bad, but he wasn't great in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 14. The one with Alexandra Daddario, whom I love. Yeah, he'll find his spot, but he hasn't yet. And it might be in Westerns, which would just be hilarious.
I think you can't have the Kevin responding to Fiery Waco here says he thinks the success of the Silent Bob movies are because of Jay. Yes, he is an integral part of that movie, but there's also some deep thought stuff that came out of Kevin Smith that are in those movies that is offset by the comedy of Jay that make both of them palatable in different ways. So I think it's one of those things that it's when you let a creator create, they can create some amazing stuff. And Hollywood does not let creators create. Everything's done by committee and by the execs at the studio who have got to get their fingers in it. And if you need an example of that, you can just look to Wild Wild West.
Fuck you and your. I once watched a lecture by Kevin Smith.
Well, no, but what's interesting is that that mechanical spider, that guy that was
Thomas Brothers,
the Hollywood exec that was coked up out of his mind and thought that was a great idea and needed to be in any and every movie. Spent
the Thomas Brothers,
yeah. However long it took them to get, they tried multiple movies to get that thing in it.
And they succeeded on a 1890s, whatever the fuck it was. Yeah, that was the wrong time for that. The other problem is the opposite of that, and that is Nothing But Trouble. That studio gave Dan Aykroyd everything. And it would have been a decent movie if it wasn't for Chevy Chase giving nothing. But at one point, Dan Aykroyd sent production out to find 13 buses because they wanted to make the gate out of buses. And then they sent production to go buy a mountain of toasters, a working train condiment dispenser, a judicial bench with built-in organ. There's just...
Is Nothing But Trouble the one that had Digital Underground in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tupac's first appearance.
Okay.
Yes.
For the lack of creativity, there's a very simple solution to this.
Cocaine.
You get
No, that was the answer to Big Trouble in Little China. Or not Big Trouble,
no. That's the answer after the answer. The answer is you get 10 people with some what's the word you used it earlier?
A focus group?
Influence? No, influence. What is? But it's not influence, huh? Clout. You get 10 people with clout in the industry. Have them go out and pick each 10 books out of the nonfiction section. Read them, and they each make the best one out of their 10. And you've got 10 movies. Out of those 10 movies, you pick the best one and produce it.
The problem is, it rhymes with shoes. No, that's what black magic is for. The problem is there is no shortage of anything except balls, and that is not because Hollywood is out of ideas. It's the fact that they've screwed themselves so into the ground with not having out of the box thinking and
It's not
producing.
about that. It's about money. If they would stop trying to fucking make money on every little thing and squeeze.
But that's the
every drop of
problem.
profit
To
out of
get
it.
Johnny Depp into your movie, to get asses in theaters to watch that movie, you have to buy Johnny Depp.
At this point, you can get him at a discount, and yes, he'll put butts in seats.
It's still 20 million and 36 emu or alpaca. What's he buying these days? I wouldn't go back to Pirates of the Caribbean for $100 million and a million. I think it's alpacas. I think it's alpacas is what he's
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was alpacas.
farming or whatever the fuck he's doing.
Well, again, Johnny Depp came into stardom in the 80s.
Mhm.
Okay, and yes, he's still a draw, and he can still put butts in seats. But what we need is the 80s versions of Johnny Depp's and Richard Grieco's and Dom DeLuise's kid and
Which one?
John Favreau, and we need all of these hungry actors out there that need to be given the chance to do something. I mean, Kevin Bacon started in Friday the 13th.
Johnny Depp started.
Daisy Ridley got jumped.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street, yeah.
Yeah, he did Nightmare on Elm Street before he got 21 Jump Street.
Mm-hmm.
We need Hollywood to stop trying to get major star power, have good stories, and put no names in them and let them become names. And not force us onto fucking legacies like goddamn Zoe Kravitz.
That's how they would have to do it, because
or Zendaya or some shit.
Yeah, because of
and drop the budget by about 80%, so that way you don't have to make a huge fucking profit or have that many asses in seats to make a profit.
Well, that's how you'd have to do it with. That's the only way it can be done, is dropping all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't have a budget without the A-list actors that you need a budget for.
Well, and maybe that's what the Daily Wire is doing.
Speaking of, I saw something with them, and they had T.J. Miller.
The Uncanny.
How the hell did they pull T.J. Miller?
Well, it was on Instagram, and I was like, "Is this?"
Was it The Uncanny?
It had Adam Carolla.
Yeah, that was. I think that was The Uncanny. Let me look that up.
What the fuck is that?
It's a new movie that they made.
Because T.J. Miller is just dripping with woke fucking nonsense.
And
he can
sexual
be
assault
funny.
charges.
He probably did it. Because he's a male feminist. Whatever. I mean, whatever. But the dude can be funny.
He's no Richard Dreyfuss. Oh, I probably did. I don't remember, but I probably did. Yeah, that was me. I was a dick.
But, I mean, they have... Apparently, there's a new thing out with Josh Brolin. It's on Netflix, I think? Or is it maybe Amazon? That looks like it might be interesting. It's like a Western, but he finds like this...
Open range?
Hole on his ranch, and it's like a dimensional portal or something like that. At least that's the premise. I saw him talking about that a couple of weeks back. I need to look that one up.
I think it's Amazon. I think it's Open Range. I googled no, it's not
Open Range is with Kevin Costner.
Outer Range, maybe?
But like Disney now owns Marvel.
Outer Range.
And they own Fox, which means they own the production house that produced the 2 Deadpool movies that are outrageously good. But because they're Disney, they won't let Ryan Reynolds just make a 3rd Deadpool movie at rated R like it needs to be and make it a good movie. And I'm here I am supporting basically a franchise when I shouldn't be, but to me that makes sense. Just let them make an R-rated Deadpool. Let them make another R-rated comedy like The Hangover, and stop demanding on these watered down, please everybody bullshits that everybody may or may not see but doesn't give two shits about. Go back to the ultra violence of RoboCop to make it topical for us for this week.
I would buy that for $1.
That movie was gory.
I prefer Sin City.
Yeah, but I think we need to get away from comic book stuff.
Oh, I just meant the goriness. Took away his weapons, both of them. Like shot to the hand, shot to the dick. Worth it. I bet most of us would agree that Toshiro Mufane was the best part of all of those movies. Oh, we're talking about the Chop Suey. Seven Samurai is the best Kurosawa flick.
But it's a ripoff of Westerns.
Yeah. Spaghetti Westerns. This is Chop Suey Westerns. Yeah, give or take. Good stuff. I liked. I didn't like, but It Follows had a very original cast and a very low budget and very minimal CGI.
Right, but for something like that, you need to get more marketing involved to get it out there. And they don't seem to be wanting to do that. So marketing still plays a part of it. And I'm gonna go back to my example that is the best example in the world because it's the best movie ever made, Big Trouble in Little China. It was a box office flop because they failed to market it. And it wasn't like it was a huge cost to them at the time.
Yeah.
They just failed to promote.
Man is saying you got it backwards. Fistful of Dollars was a ripoff of Yojimbo, and The Magnificent Seven was an adaptation of Seven Samurai. You got it backwards.
Did I though? Because pretty sure Yojimbo was a ripoff of some John Wayne movies. You got to remember, Westerns existed from like the 1930s going forward. In Japan, if you recall, we kind of kicked their ass in the 40s, and they had to rebuild so that they basically had to rip off our cinema. So yes, for those specific movies, you are correct. But to say that Kurosawa wasn't ripping off Westerns is not true. Westerns then in turn ripped him off. Yes, but he was the first ripoff.
Yeah.
We start at the same time every night, Hobbs. Or every Monday, anyway.
Yeah, give or take 3 minutes. Yeah, it's about how you would have to do it. Is first get a good screenplay script, whatever you want to call it, and then small budget actors.
Well, I think we need to go back to basics and just start.
Well, let's not forget Star Wars was
Yeah,
was a brand spanking new cast.
and it was because Lucas tried to get the rights to Flash Gordon, and whoever owned the rights at the time told him no. because he wanted to make something that like a premiere film that was based off of some of the serials of the day, and he wanted to do Flash Gordon in particular, and was told no, so he created Star Wars, and it blew everybody's mind.
Mm-hmm. Well, not only Star Wars itself, but the cast too.
Well,
Harrison Ford was a carpenter.
Yeah, well, he was in. Well, and Mark Hamill was, I think, in Corvette Summer, or was it Harrison Ford that was in Corvette Summer? One of the two of them was in Corvette Summer, a year and a half, 2 years before that.
Did you say so?
Yeah, and Carrie Fisher was
hot.
Well, yes, but she was also Debbie Reynolds' kid. Is how she got cast.
I can't. It would have to be Mark Hamill because Harrison Ford was literally a carpenter on the film set.
I think he had one other acting credit to his name before Star Wars.
I don't know. Well, that might have been Corvette Summer. Fuck if I know. I didn't see the movie.
But yes, I mean, he was a SAG card holder that was doing carpentry because he wasn't getting roles. But he was still Harrison Ford. Let's see here. Yeah, he had several credits before. He was on Ironside, the TV show, Mod Squad. He was doing some TV stuff.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like that's what you want is someone who has a couple of credits in that they have the talent. Like there's a in Terminator 3, the Terminator is played by Christiana Loken, who is fine in that movie for that role. But a couple years earlier, she was in Mortal Kombat Conquest, a TV show, and she was just awful. Not terrible. Like she was like she got the point across. But
okay,
there's certain girls who don't have a presence in TV. Like I love me some Tanya Roberts, but she's a beautiful woman. She's old as shit, and she's still a beautiful woman. But she does not have a presence for TV or movies. And she's just very pretty. You know, like playing a slave girl in a period piece that's based on a couple hundred years ago, sounding like a girl from the Valley, just doesn't do it for anybody. So they have to have a couple of credits to them, like TV shows or walk-ons or theater of some sort, before they're put in these movies.
Yeah. So Mark Hamill was in Corvette Summer, and
okay, so we did find that American Graffiti was Harrison Ford.
American Graffiti was Harrison Ford. So he kind of I mean, before that he had like a dozen TV credits basically. But American Graffiti probably broke him into movies in Hollywood,
which got him the card.
Right, and then he did some more TV stuff, and then Star Wars blew him out of the water. So, and he never looked back. But yeah, I mean, basically an unknown, a character actor, you know, a bit part guy. But yeah, we need more of that, and instead of these forced roles.
Mm-hmm. And I don't even mind the being influenced by either the Wild West being influenced by samurais or samurais being influenced by the Wild West. I don't care which way is which, as long as it's something genuinely unique.
That and they're telling good stories.
Yeah,
they're both of them tell character-driven stories.
Now, character-driven doesn't mean there needs to be a lot of character development. If it's Phone Booth with Colin Farrell and it takes place over an hour and a half, I don't want to hear about character development. If it's a 3-day weekend starring Adventures of Ford Fairlane, I don't want to hear about character development. He was so big, he was a bit character, and he still had the cover of the Guyver. I like the Guyver. Actually, I really enjoy the Guyver. And when I saw it, it was wholly disappointing.
The Guyver? You mean Bio Booster Armor? The Guyver?
Maybe. Have you seen the posters for the Guyver? It's literally half a Guyver unit and half Mark Hamill's face, and he was never the Guyver.
Huh.
It was just straight up lying. He was a detective who eventually gets turned into one of the creatures and dies.
Okay.
But it had a good cast. You know, who doesn't love Jimmy Walker as a rapping fucking exomorph or whatever they're fucking called? Good God.
I like the anime, The Guyver.
Yeah, I liked Guyver 2. It was much darker and stabbier and just sweeter all around. Didn't have any original cast though.
Yes, I agree with Josh on this one. Guyver is the shit. It was a really good anime. But enough weeb shit.
Yeah, enough of that weeb shit.
So what I'm hearing though is that the Top Gun sequel is actually good.
Yeah, if you can get around the CGI they had to do for the jacket.
I'll give it a try.
Which that'll be my focus. Like, I'm not even sure if that that picture that went around of Henry Cavill with the dirt face with CGI. I didn't see any mustache whatsoever. It just looked like dirt face to me. So I can't imagine.
Yeah, well, Warner Brothers needs to get their shit together.
Yeah,
they got some problems.
Actually, I saw a couple of pretty interesting movies coming out. One is a Japanese-led movie called Land Shark, which is like their version of the Megalodon, which looks surprisingly good for what it is. Oh, look, I got out from under their homework. Hello.
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 And
Hey there.
the second movie was it's about crypto. Was it Crypto? Was that his name? The Superman's dog.
Yeah. Crypto with a K.
Kryptonian. Okay, I was thinking like the money for a minute. They're like, oh yeah, Kryptonian, crypto.
Yeah, crypto with a K.
It's
Crypto
it's
the
a story of him. Yeah. It's animated. But look cute. The Rock plays Crypto, and Kevin Hart is like this big bulldog.
Yeah, he's supposed to be Bat Dog.
So it looks fairly all right. So we'll see how that works.
Yeah.
It's definitely a unique take, at least.
So, what did everybody do over the weekend?
I watched The Lost City of D.
I hung out with the missus and watched a bunch of paranormal shows.
Ooh.
Anything good?
Paranormal Caught on Tape is not bad. It's got some interesting stuff.
Yeah. Anything's better than Paranormal State.
I liked Paranormal State when it was coming out, when it was new and fresh.
Oh
but
God, no.
Wasn't my favorite one, but
Are you sure? The 21-year-old demonologist and the kid who had a demon following him around?
yeah, no, I mean that was obviously, well, and that's the thing. When I watch these shows, I don't watch them because I think the shit's real. I watch them to see how they fake it.
Sean likes to debunk things.
My favorite still is Most Haunted, where the host, her brother's a cameraman, and she like offers him up to be attacked.
The
But
chicken,
I couldn't
the chicken
stand.
in the UK, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can hear me, push to it down the stairs. Well, no, like one episode. It was a Halloween episode because those are the ones I watched. Where he got claw marks, like literal red scratches on his back, and for the rest of the time they were in there, she was like, "Attack Stewart!" Like,
Wow.
you're like, "Oh my fucking brother!" That's exactly how you would handle it. But I could not stand, and this was specifically the Taps, the Jason and what's his nut Grant.
Oh yeah.
Is anytime they would get shh 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 shh. If you can hear us, knock, and then they would knock, and everyone would lose their shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I could not think of anything I would like to do less as a ghost than put up with you people. Like I'm pretty sure that takes energy or what the fuck ever, and I have to gain that up, and I'm not wasting it on you idiots.
Well, the thing that gets me with a lot of these ghost shows is that they always do it at night, and they're always in the dark and all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, I get that for production value. But what ghost sighting have you heard of that takes place at night? Most of them, almost all of them that they dig up when they're doing their research and like, oh, this happened and that happened. Oh, really? What time of day was that? Oh, it was like 2 p.m.
Yeah. It's
why do you need to do it at night?
Yeah. No one's outside their hotel room at 3 a.m.
Oh, what was the one that was on Sci-Fi that had Josh Gates? Was it Destination Truth?
Yeah.
That was the best one.
I do like Josh Gates. He's on TikTok, and him and I shoot the shit all the time with exchanges of comments.
Yeah, Kirsten randomly ran into him in Oklahoma. She was on a trip for work.
Yeah. There's pictures of him the other day. He was in Missouri, and he had the panel removed on the Stairmaster he was using. The panel above his head had to be removed. So he could use the Stairmaster while he was working out at some fucking BFE gym in the hotel.
So,
but he is the only one of that group. Well, River Monsters, that's technically not at all paranormal. That guy lost his job by catching everything.
yes, he did.
Like he literally.
But he's still a world-class fisherman, so I mean, technically, he just lost the show.
He literally caught himself out of a job, which is exactly.
He's on another show, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's doing something else now, but that's the best outcome, and I 100% approve.
Yeah,
like he was at the height of his job. He was doing the job exactly as he pitched, and unfortunately, he did it.
He was
well.
very successful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He caught all the fish. Like at no point was he trying to like catch like angler fish to convince you that it was a monster or anything like that. He just was like, well, time to get something new going. But in Destination Truth, first off, I enjoy Josh Gates' humor.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was almost more fun at the times where he was in town before setting out on whatever was happening than it was when he actually got the places.
Yeah.
But he was hunting a Yeti, and he came across a hair sample that they claimed was Yeti. And they took foot castings and a hair sample, and it came back as not being recognized as a recorded species. And the casings from the feet that he took were distinct were distinct and different from each other. Which means that it wasn't a guy. Like, there was a guy somewhere in the Northeast who had 40-pound shoes, like lead shoes, and they were casted to have like 3 toes. And he would walk up and down beaches to fuck with people. But each one of those prints is like a stamp in a book. It's not a footprint. It's not unique in any way. But the Josh Gates footprints were, the toes were moving in a different direction in one than the other, showing that the person, the creature, was in one of the steps was making a turn and had pivoted, and the toes reflected that in the castings.
So
that is the closest we have come to proof of a Bigfoot. It isn't anything like proof, but it's the closest.
So what did Garrick do over the weekend? Sorry, you kind of got off on your tangent and talked about paranormal stuff.
That's all I do.
I went to a wedding with of one of my wife's friends. So
That's all you did?
Pretty much. Pretty much. A whole lot of driving.
Well,
What about you, Josh? What have you been up to this weekend?
let me see. I went to the Ren Fair yesterday. That was entertaining.
Did you take my suggestion and go as a expedition crew?
No, I didn't. I
Missed
thought
opportunity.
about it. I really did. But I did manage to buy me a kilt finally for my Scottish heritage.
Mhm.
Got my proper tartan colors and everything. Actually wore it. It was actually quite comfy. But there
Was
was
it nice and airy?
it was warm.
Hefty
and it
breeze to my
was,
nether region.
Whenever you did get a nice little breeze, it cooled you off.
Yeah, I know. I've seen. Damn it! Can't think of the name of the movie.
Saw tons of furries.
Oh no!
Really?
Oh yeah.
At the Ren Fair?
Yep.
That's disgusting.
It is disgusting. But
So by
And-
expedition, I'm assuming you mean like a red shirt, Jay?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So no, I mainly go for the food that's at the Ren Fair.
Fuck yeah! Who doesn't want giant turkey legs?
I don't
like
even
the
go for the
steak on
turkey
a
leg.
stick.
I don't go for the turkey leg. There's a eatery in the Ren Fair called the Jerusalem Cafe, and they serve Mediterranean dishes, and they have a really good lamb and beef kebab that is just really good.
What'd you say, Sean?
Steak on a stick.
Steak on a stick. I've heard that.
Yeah. And there was a new addition to the Ren Fair this year, and it was freaking awesome. It's called a chimney cake. And it's from Transylvania.
Sounds
Area.
black.
And basically they take dough, sweet, kind of sweet dough, wrap it around a wooden roller, basically, on a skewer that rotates around some coals. And it cooks, and then they had different coatings. They had like an Oreo coating. They had like a sweet walnut. They had a cinnamon sugar. They had a maple bacon, which was really good. But it was just really kind of cool to watch them cook it straight over heated coals.
I'd eat that,
And-
but I'd die.
You would.
Well, damn, Sean.
There's a couple places that do serve some unique stuff. There's one place called Popper's Eatery, Pauper, Popper, and they serve venison bites, which are little chunks of venison that are wrapped in bacon, and they're quite delicious. Problem is, you don't get very many of them. You get them served with some fries, and that's the filler, because you only get like 4 or 5 of them. So,
Ah, nuts.
They should
The
be
chimney
more
cake.
true to the time period and serve gruel.
I was really pissed. I was really pissed because when I got there, my buddy actually got there before me. And he's like, dude, they're out of mead. What? They were out of mead until next Saturday.
Should get your money back.
I know. That's the whole main reason I go to the Ren Fair is to carry around my leather flagon and just fucking go to all the places and get mead and drink.
Oh, I don't care for mead.
Mead is delicious.
I also don't care for piss in my water, but that's just me.
Yeah, well, teach their own. Mead is very sweet.
To cover up the piss in the water.
Uh-huh. Yeah. But yeah, there was lots of furries, and Kirsten didn't know what a furry was, so that was...
She got a first-class education overnight.
Well, I mean, she kind of knew. She went up to this one that that was dressed up in like this purple Victorian dress with a raven's head and everything else. It's really one of the more creepy furries that I've seen there before, but I saw a lot more this year. But she ran up to, she's like, "Oh my god, that's so cool," and all this sort of stuff. And when she came back, she's like, "Isn't that so cool?" I was like, "Don't encourage the furries."
Yeah.
Sit down. Let me tell you a tale.
Yeah. But we did go last year, and it was really kind of funny because there was one furry that was really upset because everybody kept calling her a dog when she was a fox, and she was very upset about it. So
get the fuck over it.
I thought it was
bigger problems than that.
I try not to mock the furries too much because, like I said, if they can afford a $4,000 fursuit, they can afford a $20 pipe bomb in your mailbox. So, but yeah, Ren Fair was fun. Lots of good stuff. But yeah, lots of fun. Rat catcher and bludgeon them with a cudgel. Ooh, that would have been fun. Also would have got me thrown out. But still fun. So, what are we discussing? Are we discussing the craptastic gas prices?
No, we can if you want to.
What's it there, Josh?
Right now, it's close to about $4 a gallon.
Yeah, we just crested 5 here.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been driving fiance's little Bronco Sport instead of my 4Runner, which kind of sucks, but it's better on fuel.
Yeah.
So, but
yeah, when I was last out there, Sean, there was a store to the east side of Phoenix that was, if I remember right, was at like $5.20 a gallon. I was like, what the fuck happened here?
Yeah. What's interesting though is that if you go up north, it's still cheaper up north, which isn't normally the case. Normally it's cheaper here in the valley, but there's just so much consumption down here that they can get those prices. But some of the stuff up by Prescott is still almost a full $1 cheaper a gallon than it is here in the valley right now.
Wow.
What was it up in Spreegerville?
It was in the 440s, 450s.
Yeah, see, that was still 20 to 40 cents cheaper than it was down here at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
The week before you came, I was paying $4.80. Now everything's looking like it's $5.10 to $5.40.
We're gonna hit that $6 mark soon.
I would imagine next weekend, because Memorial Day.
Yep. I don't think it'll be that bad here. I think it'll be maybe $4.15 a gallon, but still. I mean, I try not to drive my 4Runner unless I absolutely have to. I've been staying at home and it's driving me nuts.
Yeah.
And we were planning a camping trip for Memorial Day, but we're getting a lot of rain right now, so the river might be up and may not be able to. We might be able to go camping, but we may not be able to float the river like we were hoping to.
Yeah. Well, this is, I mean, depending on if this ever stops, this may inhibit me coming out in January.
I know. That's what I've relayed to my fiance. I was like, you realize this is going to inhibit some future activities. So, yeah. So, yeah, I've been placing I did that gas pump stickers everywhere I go if I have to fill up. Maynard. You see remnants of them where they've been scratched off. But yeah, I place one everywhere I go that I fill up anyway. I put usually 3 for each octane, or 1 for each octane, so 3 total on each pump. So.
Some of them are butthurt locations are trying to make that graffiti.
Yeah. Technically, it is vandalism.
And there's federal implications with messing with gas pumps.
I mean, technically, you're not messing with it.
No, but if like vandalizing a gas pump has more consequences than like vandalizing a store wall or something like that.
Right.
Enough to do it.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to have to worry about repercussions here in Oklahoma, but could be wrong.
Let me tell you a little
what
story
you
of
should do is go put those out in California.
Yeah, I'm not spending that much money. Drive out that far. Jesus, man.
All right. Well, you guys still have it cheap.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I've noticed the same thing, Maynard. There's usually the stickers are removed fairly quickly within a couple days, but there's been a few times where I've gone back and yeah, there's a sticker or something there on another pump. So, but yeah, it's really great. But you know, hey, what did we expect? You know, axing the Keystone Pipeline and canceling all
the gas
gas
prices
leaks.
are the most like visible aspect of the inflation, but I'm getting more concerned about the food.
Yeah, I am too, because
my grocery bills have gone up more than 50% in the last
3 or
4 months. It's ridiculous.
Dude, I went to the grocery store the other night and I was just doing stuff because I didn't want to defrost things. I picked up a packet of hamburger patties. I picked up some hamburger buns. I picked up a package of cheese for cheese on the burgers, and some eggs, dog bed, and a 35-pound bag of dog food. It's $108 for me to leave the store, and the dog bed was like $25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's gonna get bad.
Yeah,
It's
let's
gonna
do
get
it.
real bad.
It's only going to get worse. The stories out of the West Coast where they're already reprogramming the signs to add another digit.
Yeah.
That should be a horror story that nobody should accept. Like that should have people in the streets rioting, and yet we're still not rioting.
Well, that's because of where they are, though. That's about a what's it called? Race car fuel.
Or the high octane stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if the 93 octane stuff, the generic low end stuff in California gets to be over $10.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
By probably July 4th at this rate.
Yeah. I can see it. I can see it. I was thinking about going up to the store, and they still have several of the big rolls of the hamburger meat, and just vacuum sealing 1 pounds out of the roll. Cut 1 pound sections out of it and vacuum seal it.
Mm-hmm.
I've already got plenty of some food stores, but yeah,
Never
kinda
hurts to
want
add to it.
kinda
I
wanna add
literally, on sale, I bought steak burger because it was cheaper than regular burger, regular ground beef.
Yeah, right now what's interesting is Kroger's still got some stuff that's relatively decently priced as far as like some of their bigger cuts of roasts and like chuck roast and stuff like that.
some-
And you can buy that cheaper than you can buy the hamburger and just grind it. Make
Yep.
your own burger.
Mm-hmm.
Tastes better too.
Yep.
Doesn't shrink up as much.
Mm-hmm. Not as fatty, not as much water.
Yep.
Yep. I usually do the chuck roast for my stews and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes a good burger though.
Don't have a grinder though, so
You can go find one in an antique store.
probably should.
Hell, go to Cabela's and they have cheap electronic ones that work really well.
We don't have a Cabela's locally anymore. I have to
They
go to
don't.
Bass Pro.
Bass will have the same
Yeah.
shit. They're the
Yeah.
same company now.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are. Bass Pro bought them out.
Mm-hmm.
So
Some a bitch.
yeah.
We got one on each side of town. We got a Cabela's on the west side and a Bass on the east.
We don't have a Bass Pro shop, and it's pretty close to me. So
Matter of fact, Raggle, I think you drove by my Bass Pro.
I did indeed. I have a Bass Pro on the south end and on the west end in Katy, and then when I went home, excuse me, we have one in Gonzales, south of Baton Rouge. I don't know if there's one in Lake Charles or not. It seems like there would be, but I'm not sure.
Isn't there a Cabela's in the Woodlands?
That's a good question.
I bet you there is.
Like I said, I know there's a Bass Pro on the south end of Houston, and there's one in Katy, which is on the west end. I don't know about the northwest end.
I would bet you that somewhere between the Woodlands and Conroe, there's a Cabela's.
yeah, things are gonna get interesting.
No, there's a Bass. Like I said, there's Bass Pro in Katy. There's one on the south end, and they're just calling it Houston. And then there's another one on your way to Galveston off of 45 in League City to Cabela's. There's nothing on the north end.
That's weird.
I know, right?
I figured with the lake and all that forest up there that there would be something. A Cabela's specifically, much more so than a Bass.
Yeah,
Because all the
But-
camping that's up there.
it's all on the south end.
That's weird.
Yep.
So are we done here?
Ooh.
We are done here.
Looks like a joint at the end.
So we're
Good
gonna
timing,
be
man.
off hours and
Yeah, post that shit and then let's
post
say
it.
goodnight.
Let's get out of here. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Well, I believe in good vibrations is what creates a beautiful nation. All you need is the will to do right.